Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to this mid-August update on the energies that are coming through and the messages from Gaia. I'm Sharon Martin and I am a messenger for Gaia and bring through these energetic updates and other messages. So I take notes when I am in communication with her, and then when I get an opportunity, I come on and share them. So I did do a podcast with Sarah Adams from the States about a week ago, and so I want to reflect on some of that. And also, a number of you have asked questions, and when I have I did carefully place those somewhere so I could address them when I came here, but somebody has deleted that page, so I have to go back into the comments and find them again. But I will answer the questions that people have left. So we have been going through some major planetary realignments. That's how I've seen it, as though we are being and have been lined up through the central vertical core that's been happening in our own bodies and in the planetary body. We're in this very open vortex. We've hit what Gaia called the edge of the potentiality for planetary ascension. So we are in the lane, if you like. If we were at a bowling alley, we're lined up in the center with the ball heading towards the skittles. So that's us as a planet, and we're just awaiting a little bit more awakening, really, of the main part of consciousness. Hi, Andrea, nice to see you. So we really are, ready to go. And a number of days ago, Gaia indicated this notion of being at the helm of a ship and allowing the tethering anchor to be released. And so that's what's been happening for us as well. Some of you may have been feeling a little bit floaty. The energies have certainly been like that at times, not necessarily today. I'll go through what some of the energetic changes have been my personal experience, and you're welcome to share yours here as well. It's really interesting to share because we do, although we have collective experiences, we do have individual experiences. That's the nature of this Ascension experience game approach. So yeah, on August the 3rd, so I'm going to start with some information from there. That was definitely, there was this energetic referencing in my body. I felt as though I had been out in the night, because when I do that, I am so deep in my body. When I come back in, it takes me a while to kind of be back in enough to awaken my body and get out of bed. And so I was aware that I'd had that experience on the night before. It felt like a really big experience, and that we had this planetary realignment, and then I was told that this was a reset to drop us into the 0 point. So it was, in a way, it's been, see, I want to do this, we're swimming through it. We're breaststroking through it, because it's some days it's gentle and we can put our heads down and just move, and other days we have to kind of plow stuff out of the way as we're moving through. So the overall experience is that we're going through deep purification and purging. A lot of stuff in a whole lot of ways is coming up. So this is how we can get into that floating kind of zone and feel safe. So this is dropping into humanity in this quite like a set of deliberate steps and intentions. And I was shown that as though it is this, quite a, what would you call it? A mechanical set of actions, really. It was like this clunky ta-tunk, 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 down the stairs, as though we were, rolling a toy down the stairs like a child. And that I was shown that this movement would come in sets and come in groups. So groups would be doing this, sets of beings would be doing this alignment, this lining up. It wouldn't all happen in the same moment. So I always see, as you know, the spiral of ascension represented here in the painting with Gaia. It's this lining everybody up within this corridor. That's how I was showing it, for the final preparation and in final preparation for us, as we are coming into greater divine love, into greater unity consciousness, and coming into our fifth dimensional and higher divine plan blueprint. Those are being anchored in across the chart, really. And our multi-dimensional bodies also being enhanced and coalesced through the plasma light that's been coming in. As we return to our original divine selves, our original divine plan blueprint, into our new earth, our higher earth experience, lining up with where we are meant to go with our destiny. So this has been part of our early August experience as we're coming into, and this is the crucial moment really for humanity, and the moment is dependent on this tipping point of consciousness into our physical ascension in our physical upgraded human body. That's how it was shown to me in this beautiful sentence: we are returning to our own holy sanctuary, earth and planet, and you and me, this tasting, feeling, exploring our own nectar, our own internal chalice. And there's so much beauty in that concept. And I always feel emotional when I feel into that. As we return to the Godhead, our eternal self, our eternal youthing, coming into harmony and balance and peace, in connection and in unity consciousness, each in our own divinity. And to breathe deeply into that space that sits within you, that holds that. I really see the sternum, that bone that sits at the top of the rib cage. I have been shown that holds our ancient DNA coding. If you've ever felt some activation going on in there, it might be that. And so each of us is coming into our own and encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to do this if you don't already. Your own powerful and self-sustaining system. So you come into your own alignment, you become accountable to your own moods and energies and feelings, responses, reactions, and know that whatever comes up for you is your work. You may be doing it on behalf of another group or people you know, or your divine masculine at the moment. I probably won't have time. I have a client soon, but I am going to want to come and speak about what's been going on for the divine masculine. So I will do that today. And if I get a chance, I'll put it on the end of here, but I'm not sure that I'll have time for that. But there is this, this is, all for one and one for all. And so we are doing things on behalf of others, but we nearly always have a personal connection into that. And so always it's about checking in with self. What's going on for me? Why did I do that? Why am I feeling that? What is that feeling about? What's the message? Our body can talk to us if we get into having a dialogue with its parts. And I find I encourage my clients to do that, and people, when I invite them to do that, I can see that there's this reluctance, and then I say, well, it doesn't matter if you don't get an answer, but just ask and relax and see what happens. And they can relate to something. There's a word that comes, or an experience or situation. And so this is a way that we can unpack our wounding. This is a way we can unpack the things that challenge us, the things that bind us, the programs that hold us, the conditioning that runs us. And that's a very, so I'm tipping forward to the kind of energy of today and yesterday, I think, with that. We're in this very mental energy. So as each of us creates our own self-sustaining system, there's this linking up. So it's a new way, and if you like, it's a new way of our being connected. So you may have seen in your own internal vision, or you may have seen diagrammatically this idea that I was shown a long time ago, that, and I wrote a blog about it, Are You a Blue Dot? That each of us here on the surface of the planet represents a blue dot. We're spread out, so we can be sharing our light, so we can be increasing the light quotient, the frequency on the planet, by having a very widespread effect. We came to the earth as part of that plan. And so right now, the new way that I'm seeing us show up is as a white or off-white crystalline pillar. And the shape of it is much like the shape of the internal of the torus. So if you imagine if you poured plaster into a torus or a toroidal field, or a donut, if you don't know what a torus is, if you think about a donut being big and fat, and you poured a plaster, liquid plaster, setting plaster, into that internal part, that's the shape. It has this angle out at the top and this angle out at the bottom, and it looks very much like a creamy white crystal. It has quite a lot of excuse me, opaqueness, and so that's how each of us is showing up now to me. Excuse me. Instead of a blue dot, we're this crystal pillar. And so our field, our toroidal field, because our fifth dimensional toroidal field, it flows differently to the third. So the third and fourth toroidal field, Gaia always showed me, came in at the crown and out at the feet and spun clockwise. The fifth dimensional comes in at the feet, out at the crown, and spins anti-clockwise. So that's the way our planetary toroidal field spins, and it's the same with our body and our heart. We have those levels of torus or toroidal fields, and they each interconnect. So we're accountable for our own energy field, and as we're clearing it and raising the frequency of it, it's affecting all of the other connection points. And so this is part of our work. I guess we're behaving a little bit like turbines, right? We're processing and purifying, and we're doing our own work. So we are in our highest frequency and in our clear and purified state of being. So, yep, encouraging that. And so what came from that is that we are creating a network unity grid and divinity grid as we create a new harmonic frequency that uplifts the all. And it's a rather beautiful concept, I feel. So we are definitely transitioning here from third to fifth, and it is a bit of a collective exercise. It's fill the jar up till it overflows. And so we are playing our part in here by the way in which we hold space and hold our own energy field. Looking for the collective, the masses awakening, and there's no doubt about that. And so we are wanting them to come into higher consciousness. And Gaia is saying, it's all, there's this availability, this accessibility for us as a planet to make that movement. I'm always showing that it's a movement through the galaxy into the original position of the planet in its fifth dimensional form. And so we're all lined up for that. The accessibility and availability, it's all set. Oh, yeah. So what happened to me personally on Sunday, the 7th of August, when I was tuning into this light, and I tuned into my own fractal, my own divine flame, which I see in the heart. And I saw that Isis was standing there. So my experience in the Akash has taken me to lots of past life things, and I have done a lot of traveling that's taken me to past life experiences and things that I've seen that just totally line up with what I believe and who I believe that I've had a part to play with in history of our earth. And I am of the belief that many of us can sit inside a body. So a lot of the powerful figures in our world, I was always curious when I started doing this work. I was always curious as to the number of people who, for example, claimed that they had been Mary Magdalene. And I always was curious about that, and the answer, in my view, is because these powerful beings have been they've been broken up, if you like. They've been divided into many fractals, and so we can have this sense of having belonged in and being part of the soul fractal of some of these huge beings, which is why that's my belief, that's why there's so many who make that claim. It's done in absolute truth and belief, and that's how I have made sense of it. So I hand that to you. You can take that or throw it away, whatever works for you. But I really must do some videos about this. But I saw Isis standing in front of my flame on the 7th, and so she told me I was getting my Isis codes back. Now, I don't believe that I was Isis. I don't believe that I had that experience of being her, but I was one of her daughters. And I did operate as a high priestess in the temple of Philae. So that's the only thing that I can think of, that she was there representing some of those aspects of my Egyptian lives, and there have been a few of those. And then also I got shown that another Atlantean life, and with the name of Ileandra. So that was another little thing I got shown that day. And then on the Lion's Gate, this was definitely, there was this deliberate energy that was amped up, which we'd felt building from the end of July. But on the 8th, it was really open and powerful. And the ancient codes were being returned through this portal I was showing. A very white light with a golden halo effect is what I was showing. And it was, it had a lot of movement to it. And it was as though it was in suspended animation. And I wanted to say it was as though we were making this adjustment in silence. That's how it felt. This adjustment, and almost like this acclimatization into the bliss codes, into this heavenly experience. It really felt like that. I can't say today feels so much like that to me, or yesterday, but it definitely felt like that on the 8th, as though we were taken into this very heightened experience. And that was the day that Gaia was at the helm of the ship, and inviting or instructing the anchor to be lifted, the anchor to be pulled. And so that was, this timing she was showing of that. And for me, it linked into that feeling of having like the umbilical sever. That was my experience the day before, as though we were all sort of cut off in a way that was bringing freedom. Then that matched to me, because I always see this as the macro and the micro, and sometimes we do it first and sometimes the planet does, but we're working in sync with that individual, collective, and the planet. So was an interesting sync up with this anchor being pulled. And then I, a couple of days later, so I had a couple of days off. I've been trying to I've been trying to move through those I have existing workaholic tendencies. I suffered from burnout at one point, and so I was very much I've been very much aware of that, and that I've been trying to give myself permission to not have to bring through messages from Gaia every day. So I had a couple of days off because the energies were massive. I really wanted to enjoy them and integrate them. And then I just got shown this kind of whole imagery of the planet being quite floaty. And I know that we can say it's suspended in the atmosphere, but this was, it was kind of a bit like this, it was this, as though it was doing that, as though it was moving about like a mirage, or this shimmering in and out in its transformation. It was rather gorgeous and beautiful. And it reminded me of when you watch some of those 100-meter athletes at the 100-meter at the Olympic Games or a high-level event like that, and all of their muscles are warmed up and switched on, ready to go, and that they are keeping them in that twitch or switch mode by moving their bodies left and right on the starting block. So they're in the starting blocks at the beginning of the race, and they're just shifting their backside left and right. And that was what the planet was doing. It was as though we were swaying side to side, waiting for the start gun, keeping everything in this readiness position. And what was interesting was there was this kind of sensation of our being prepared to go through a bit of bumpiness, like we might when we're getting started with something. And this, like being also in a boat in the slop when you don't have enough speed and you really have to slow down to come into somewhere, and you're just slopping from side to side. All of those sorts of images were brought up, and Gaia was excited. She said there's so much ease and excitement to come in our rebuild. So you will know probably that we have spoken about this energy of August being this movement out of some of the old, replaced with some of the new, a little bit at a time, in and out. And so she's saying that there's so much of the old that will just become debris physically and metaphysically, but we will be okay. And we're watching all of this flooding at the moment. Certainly some of that is not natural, some of it's been created, and we'll get through that. But there's this tussle at the moment, I suppose, at this point. She's saying everything will be frequency based and harmonized, and we will come into a new harmonized frequency wave. And so that's what we will come into through this time. She gave a little practice to be in this practice, to have hand on heart, to close your eyes, to breathe in the heart space. So breathing in behind the hand on the heart, and to feel the softness of yourself in there, to feel the love, to smile, and then to come into present moment. This is the way for us to navigate this time, from each present moment to the next. And to feel the feelings in your body. Feel the sensory experience in your body and to be guided by those. And you can ask yourself questions of those. What is my guidance in this moment? What does this sensation tell me? Where can I feel it in my body? What do you want to say to me? What's the emotion? What's the physical sensation of it? And then the other way that you can navigate bit by bit is just by asking yourself simple questions. Does this feel better or worse? Does this bring me greater ease or less ease? Do I feel happier with this or less happy? Do I feel more aligned or less? Do I feel centered or not? Do I feel more expanded? Yes or no? Do I feel more excited? All of those are just simple questions that you can be in dialogue with your body about, to give you guidance about where you're headed and what the decisions can be, and just be in the practice of that, being given this internal guidance by your sensory experience. And I want to give you this little tip before I go, because I probably need to go now. And I haven't finished, so I will have to come back. But if you're asking yourself a question and it's a yes or no answer, then yeses always show up. They're strong, they're precise, they're decisive. So when you know that it's a yes, you know it's a yes. So if it's not a yes, it's either a no or an I don't know. And so you can work with just going with the yeses and you can let the others slide by, or you can go with, is this a no or an I don't know? And if it's an I don't know, it's a no. If it's an I don't know, it's a no. And it's either because that's not correct or it's not the right timing. So there's just some little simple kind of question devices that you can use. So, the no is it's a no or not. The I don't know is it's a no or a not now. Yeah, so I do need to go. I thought that I would have been able to speak more about let me just see. I can probably squeeze in another few minutes. I'll need to come back and do that. That's all about the divine masculine. Gaia was saying last weekend, she was saying excitement is building as consciousness is rising. And the imagery I got shown was these little meerkats, like meerkats popping their heads up from their burrows everywhere, and not just to be emerging into the light, but they are showing, this was them, they were showing as their faces tilted, bathing in the higher light codes of this great gateway. And yes, it was this beautiful moment to witness as they were demonstrating what we are doing. That was the imagery. And we're into what has felt a bit like a flat point to me a couple of days ago. Yesterday, I said to this friend of mine, and you won't have all had this experience, but yesterday I felt really 3D, as in Monday, 2 days ago. Yeah, I felt really 3D. It was like I was my old work self, going about doing my tasks and doing my jobs and doing my chores and just from one to the other. And I was in I was just all a bit blah, and there was no sense of delight and excitement. There's no, it was just, I'm just doing it. I wasn't unhappy, but it was just flat. It was like a flat line. And I wrote this: as though we are on the bench. I played a lot of indoor basketball, watching the game. And, I a lot of the time, and I was a very good basketballer, let me put it that way. So when we would play a weak team, and I was often in the first 5, so I would be placed on the court first. And so when we would play a weak team where it would be obvious that we would, win by a big margin, then the people who were in the first 5 would get placed on the bench, and sometimes we might not even get a game, to give everybody else an opportunity to develop their skills. And it was like that. It was like as though we were watching this game that we knew our team was going to win, and we were just sort of politely watching it unfold. But in our bodies, we were experiencing integration to a greater extent than we ever have before. And the cellular integration of multidimensional aspects of lives and experiences, and this light quotient, this increased light quotient, creating what I have been calling, and it's amped up, this cellular exhaustion as our cells are being transmigrated from carbon to crystalline liquid. So these energies have felt heavy and have held a density or a compactness. So not dense as in low vibration, but dense as in compact. There's a lot of it. And so they've felt and been creating this pressure, this squeezing, but it's all been designed for transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration, all for our internal illumination. This idea that we are going to become these walking bodies with light emanating from us, and we'll be having this physical glow. And I mean that very seriously. I don't know at what point, but that's what I see will happen ultimately. And at the moment, we're showing up as these crystalline pillars energetically, white with plasmic light, refraction, as the torus, and the bottom of the torus is connecting into the underground, into our crystalline earth star chakra, and the top into our soul star chakra, which is the 12th chakra. And also the last couple of days, there's been, you may have been feeling it, I certainly have, like really sensitive. So at one point feeling kind of very numb, and then another point feeling quite highly emotional, easily moved to tears, feeling it in my heart when people are sharing with me what's going on for them, feeling it. Yeah, you might be feeling it in all the levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and through your energetic layers, through your vortexes. But we are navigating our way bit by bit through this part of our ascension. What else can I share here? So there's a lot of shifting out. I think I'll have to come back and do this last part, but that's where we're at the moment. We're in this shifting out, this purification, this purging, this analysis of what is coming up in terms of our programming and conditioning. And it's very mental. It's very much this pressure in the head. That's certainly been how I'm reading it. And so this is to break down our mental conditions, our mental programs. And so there's some stuff for me to speak about around that, but I have a client in 10 minutes, so I will close now, and I'll come back later on and speak about what's been happening the last couple of days and what we will be going through for the next few. But lots of blessings to you, sending you lots of love, and that we've really got this. We really are on the edges of this incredible time in our lives, and so we're watching the disintegration, but it will be fine. And let me just quickly say hi to all of you who are here, but I can't answer any questions that are in here, although there's lots ups and downs, feeling heavy and dense, appreciative of your presence. Thank you, Jill. Thank you for the perspectives. They help. Thank you, Andrea. I know that holding hands thing, it's so beautiful, isn't it? That's how it showed up. It's like each of us is holding hands around the globe. That's my alarm to say go. So thank you, Andrea, thank you, Rael, thank you, Wild Grace and Dana and Gia, and Jill's. It's Jill's. And yeah, so I wish you a beautiful day, and I'll pop back on. I've got a 2-hour session with a client, so it'll be a little bit after that. All right, thank you.